Chosen ones, stop scrolling immediately. I am not asking for your attention today. I am commanding it. If you scroll past this message, you are actively choosing to sever the exact timeline heaven prepared for you. This is not a coincidence. The algorithm absolutely did not bring you here. God intercepted your feed. He brought you here because someone who treated you as replaceable is currently experiencing a full system crash. It is a public and completely irreversible collapse. You know exactly who I am talking about. They walked around with absolute arrogance. They constructed a massive false narrative about you. They whispered lies to anyone who would listen. They expected your departure to break you completely. They waited with bated breath for you to fail, but instead you became the massive uncertainty they were never designed to handle. And now the very people they used to gossip with are watching them unravel in real time. Their mask has not just slipped, it has completely shattered. Buckle in right now. What you are about to hear is not just commentary. It is a specific and undeniable X-ray of the meltdown happening behind closed doors. Do not look away. The enemy is working overtime to distract you right now. He hopes you will swipe away because he knows this truth destroys his entire power over you. Your silent obedience in private has activated a massive shift. Listen closely, because this is the exact part the enemy tried to hide from you. I need to speak directly to your physical body right now. That suffocating tightness sitting heavy in your chest at 3 a.m. That burning feeling resting right in the back of your throat. The nights you wake up with your jaw completely tight and your heart racing out of control. Their face flashes in your mind and you feel entirely drained. Listen to me very carefully right now. That is not anxiety. You are not going crazy. That physical weight you feel is your highly advanced spirit detecting the absolute panic of your enemies. They just realized they permanently lost access to you. They are starving for your pure energy. The spiritual backlash of their starvation is hitting your physical body. Stop wondering why they act like nothing ever happened. Stop waiting in wound for an apology that will never come. You have been fighting battles in absolute silence for years. You thought nobody noticed your hidden tears. You thought nobody saw how you held your deep integrity. Heaven saw every single moment of your pain. You stood tall when they violently lied on your name. You watched them spin chaotic stories that painted you as the absolute villain. It felt like a knife twisting slowly in your back, while the unfairness of it all threatened to swallow you completely whole. They took your pure intentions and twisted them into something unrecognizable. They fed those lies to the monkeys. And the hardest part was watching people you trusted actually believe their lies. The isolation felt like a heavy, thick blanket covering your soul. You were cast out as the black sheep because you simply refused to play along with their deeply toxic games. But you were never the anomaly in someone else's otherwise healthy life. You were the mirror. You were always the mirror. The reaction got this unbelievably loud because you got closer to their dark truth than anyone before you ever had. Your pure light exposed the rotting core they desperately tried to hide from the world. They had to destroy your good reputation to protect their fragile illusion. If they did not make you the crazy one, they would be forced to face their own terrifying demons. They chose to lie. They chose to sacrifice you on the altar of their massive ego. But here is the raw truth they could never say out loud. Their lies are currently eating them alive from the inside out. And every single time they repeat that false story, it feels like bitter ash in their mouth. The universe simply does not ignore the silent tears of the anointed ones. Heaven recorded every single lie they spoke against you. The very foundation they built on your destruction is currently rotting beneath their feet. You probably did not realize it at the time because you felt weak and entirely defeated. But your absolute silence was a massive lethal weapon. Your refusal to argue in the mud starved their internal demons of the oxygen they desperately craved. Now they are drowning in the loud noise of their own chaotic making. They are frantically searching for a replacement for your pure light, looking everywhere for someone else to carry their heavy emotional garbage. But they are slowly realizing that your specific depth is utterly irreplaceable. You were a rare diamond they treated like cheap dirt. They thought they could discard you and just upgrade their miserable life. But the spiritual cost of their brutal betrayal is compounding every single day. The people they recruited to hate you are starting to notice the ugly cracks as the mask slips in front of the exact audience they wanted to impress. The illusion of their perfect life is violently crumbling to the ground. If your spirit confirms this raw truth, gently press the like button to seal your energetic alignment with heaven. You need to do this right now because the physical toll of their deception is extremely heavy, and you have been carrying a massive weight that was never yours to hold. You feel it deep in your tired bones. The daily exhaustion is absolutely overwhelming. Let us go deeper into what happens when the sun goes down. You wake up at exactly 3 a.m. with your chest completely crushed. The heavy darkness fills your lonely room while their faces flash relentlessly behind your tired eyes, leaving you paralyzed in the cold silence. You try to catch your breath, but the somatic weight just sits right on your lungs, refusing to move. You have been gasping for air in a tight room they filled with toxic smoke. Listen to me very carefully right now, chosen one. You are not experiencing a random medical panic. Your highly attuned nervous system is simply processing the massive spiritual warfare directed at you because they used you as their personal emotional battery for many long years. You were their stabilizer. You absorbed their chaotic darkness and returned pure radiant light. You took their deep shame and offered them unconditional grace. But a parasitic entity does not appreciate the generous host it ruthlessly drains, so they fed on your bright energy until you were empty. And when you finally had nothing left to give, they discarded you like cheap trash. They walked away looking like the absolute winner in this cruel, deceptive game. They smiled broadly for the cameras and told everyone how toxic you actually were. Let me completely reframe your entire reality, right here and right now. You did not lose. Their temporary public victory is nothing but a cheap optical illusion, and it is a desperate mirage masking their rapid internal decay. Every single lie they told about you was not a strategic social win. It was a brutal spiritual death sentence they eagerly signed with their own arrogant hands. They thought they were simply manipulating a few mutual friends. They thought they were just controlling the daily gossip narrative. But they completely forgot that heaven hears every single whisper spoken in the dark. God does not play small, meaningless games with the lives of his anointed ones. When they dragged your sacred name through the filthy mud, they crossed a fatal spiritual line. They triggered a massive universal law that cannot be reversed by fake public apologies, because the cycle breaker is fiercely protected by a divine mandate. An attack on you is a direct attack on heaven itself. Now they have to maintain this massive, heavy fortress of lies every single day. The mental energy required to keep their false story alive is draining them completely dry. They have to remember exactly what they told each specific person. They live in constant, unspoken terror that someone will finally discover the missing puzzle pieces, leaving them utterly exhausted and paranoid. You were not just another random passing character in their chaotic life story. You were the rare, brilliant mirror that forced them to look at their own rotting soul. They hated you deeply because your pure existence highlighted everything they could never be. Your genuine kindness made their fake empathy look incredibly cheap, and you effortlessly exposed the dark, true core they hid. They could not elevate themselves to reach your incredibly high spiritual frequency, so they tried to drag your flawless reputation down into their familiar, filthy mud. They believed that if they could convince the world you were the crazy one, they could finally stop hating themselves. But destroying the sacred mirror does not change the ugly reflection. It only brings deep, permanent ruin. Look closely at the stark, undeniable difference between your two paths right now. You are sitting in the painful, burning fire of deep spiritual incubation. You are being rigorously purified and prepared for a massive timeline shift. Meanwhile, they are frantically dancing on a rotting wooden stage that is about to collapse, happily trading their eternal soul for cheap, temporary validation. Their new friends do not actually love or care for them. Their flashy new life is built entirely on a weak foundation of stolen energy and heavily borrowed time. The universe is actively stripping away their spiritual protection while they blindly celebrate their fake wins. They are spiritually dead, walking around in expensive clothes, and the dark void inside is growing completely unmanageable. This is exactly why your absolute silence has been your most lethal weapon. You did not give them the chaotic emotional reaction they desperately needed to survive. You did not beg for your stolen social position back. You simply unplugged your golden energy from their toxic parasitic matrix, leaving them entirely alone with the terrifying ghosts of their own terrible choices. You starved their hungry demons of the oxygen they needed to keep breathing. And this brings us to a critical spiritual distinction that eludes the vast majority of people. Your intense physical exhaustion is simply the heavy tax of disconnecting from their demonic grid. But here is the raw, uncomfortable truth they could never say out loud, and the one secret that will completely shatter them. There is a physical reason your reality has not shifted yet. And science just uncovered exactly why you feel so incredibly stuck in this exhausting cycle. The universe responds to certain people effortlessly while you struggle for every single inch, but this is definitely not a lack of strong faith. It is not some bad personal karma that you are heavily paying for today. It is a deeply suppressed brainwave frequency hidden inside your physical body. They call it the effortless and pure genius state. It is the exact frequency your beautiful brain was running when you were a child. Back then, your sharp intuition was absolutely flawless, and brilliant ideas came to you effortlessly while the world felt completely on your side. But then the harsh modern world went to work on your pure spirit. The constant heavy stress of survival quickly arrived to break you down. You became the reliable stabilizer for deeply toxic people. Every single year, this sacred frequency was pushed further down into the dark. The relentless survival routine completely suppressed your natural wealth-attracting state, leaving you to wake up with thick, heavy brain fog every single morning. You feel financially drained and spiritually completely exhausted from the constant fighting. Your brilliant, natural genius simply went silent over time. Most people will live their entire lives never knowing this secretly happened to them. They will just accept the heavy matrix programming as perfectly normal. But you are absolutely not most ordinary people. You are a chosen and powerful cycle breaker who refuses to stay asleep. And this brings us to a critical distinction that completely shifts the entire spiritual dynamic. Your absolute silence is a massive lethal weapon. You probably did not realize it at the exact painful time. You felt incredibly weak when you finally walked away from their toxic table. But leaving was the most powerful, energetic move you could ever make for yourself. You stopped explaining your pure heart to their committed and deliberate misunderstanding, and you stopped defending your good name against their nasty, calculated lies. You just went totally dark and completely silent. That quiet restraint was never a sign of pathetic weakness. That absolute silence signed their permanent eviction notice from your sacred life. They expected you to write long, angry paragraphs and fight them loudly because they desperately needed your chaotic emotional reaction to feel alive and superior. They wanted you to scream and cry so they could call you crazy. Your deep, painful wounds were their daily fuel. When you unplugged from their matrix, their entire supply system violently collapsed. You starved their hungry demons of the vital oxygen they desperately needed to survive. Now they are wandering around in the dark trying to find a new battery, but nobody else carries the exact same brilliant frequency that you naturally possess. Your radiant bright light was a rare daily feast for their empty souls. They took your unconditional grace entirely for granted. Now they are forced to eat cheap emotional scraps from very ordinary people, and it is completely starving them from the inside out every single day. Every time they check your silent profile, they feel the agonizing weight of their mistake because they realize they threw away the only genuine diamond they ever held. You did not just survive their brutal and terrifying storm, you successfully took back all your stolen power today. You became the giant bright sun they can no longer reach. They try to provoke you through mutual friends to get a tiny reaction. They post fake happy updates, hoping you will finally break your absolute silence. Do not take their pathetic, desperate bait under any circumstances. Your absolute stillness is currently destroying their fragile ego, while they literally malfunction from losing control over a narrative you refuse to participate in. Your absence is a loud, roaring thunder in their empty life. They truly believed you would eventually come crawling back to their toxic abuse. They thought your strong boundaries were just a temporary emotional phase. Instead, you handed the final verdict to a heavenly court they simply cannot appeal, and the massive scales of divine justice are finally balancing in your favor. The spiritual cord is permanently cut, and they can feel it bleeding. They are frantically trying to patch the massive holes in their reality. The false kingdom they built on your pure energy is violently shaking. You won this entire spiritual war without lifting a single physical finger. The laws of the universe demand a full and complete accounting for stolen grace, and heaven is aggressively taking back every single blessing they hoarded from you. The massive wealth and health they stole is returning directly to you. You are standing on the exact edge of a timeline shift. Stay with me right here and listen to my voice. You must absolutely pay close attention to this next critical part. There are 3 specific signs that heaven is actively stripping their stolen blessings away, and you need to hear this truth before the window closes. This is the exact, undeniable proof you have been waiting for. The grand public exposure is already happening behind their closed doors. Heaven is releasing 3 specific mandates of divine justice today. The massive window to witness their public collapse is opening right now. If you leave before the 3rd and most important sign, you break your spiritual alignment completely. The universe is mathematically precise when it balances the heavy scales of karma. You need to pay very close attention to this next critical revelation. Here is the first undeniable sign that heaven is stripping their stolen blessings. The people they used to manipulate are suddenly waking up from the deep trance. The massive illusion they carefully built is cracking wide open for the world to clearly see. The flying monkeys who once helped them attack you are now turning their sharp teeth against them. Their loyal inner circle is violently collapsing into absolute chaos and deep paranoia. They can no longer hide their ugly, rotting core behind a fake, charismatic smile. Every time they try to spin a new, calculated lie, the crowd simply stares back in cold, heavy silence. The massive, unearned favors and lucky breaks they always relied on have completely dried up. Heaven has placed a heavy iron ceiling over their entire pathetic life. They are desperately trying to climb, but they keep hitting a cold, hard wall of divine justice. Type 777 in the comments right now to physically claim this incoming miracle. Lock in your powerful frequency before we move to the second undeniable sign. This physical act of typing is a sacred seal of your absolute agreement with heaven. Do not sit passively while the universe fights this massive battle for your precious honor. Your immediate obedience anchors the heavy justice directly into your physical reality today. This brings us to the second terrifying sign of their rapid spiritual decay. Their physical body is suddenly absorbing the massive weight of their own toxic poison. They are aging rapidly, like cheap milk left out in the burning hot sun. While you are stepping into a radiant, ageless glow, they look completely exhausted and thoroughly hollowed out. The dark, heavy bags under their tired eyes tell a story they desperately want to hide. They cannot sleep because the deafening silence of your absence keeps them wide awake. They toss and turn while the terrifying ghosts of their brutal betrayal haunt their empty room. Their health is failing because they no longer have your pure energy to feed on. A parasite simply cannot survive for long when the golden host permanently unplugs the power cord. They are spiritually starving, and their physical vessel is violently rejecting the heavy darkness inside. They spend huge amounts of stolen money trying to look happy and incredibly successful online, but behind the heavily filtered pictures, they are deeply miserable and entirely alone. The universe is forcing them to live in the exact hell they deliberately tried to create for you. Their massive, fragile ego is slowly starving to death in a cold prison of their own making. Heaven is making absolutely sure that the world watches their slow, painful public decline. But the third sign is the most powerful and completely devastating of them all. This is the exact revelation the dark elite desperately tried to hide from your sacred bloodline. If you hear this final mandate, you will finally understand why your grand breakthrough was artificially delayed. The enemy knows that if you receive this specific instruction, his demonic hold breaks completely forever. Read this next truth directly into your sovereign spirit, because it changes absolutely everything today. The third sign is that their stolen ability to drain your financial blessings has been permanently revoked. They used to effortlessly siphon your wealth and your brilliant creative ideas for their own selfish gain, but the divine portal they used to steal your heavy abundance is now completely shattered. Heaven is rerouting a massive windfall of sovereign wealth back to its true rightful owner. The heavy financial struggle you have been quietly enduring is about to violently end right now. You have felt this massive financial shift coming in your tired bones for a very long time. You knew deep down that you were destined to live a beautiful life of absolute sovereign wealth. The chosen cycle breaker was never meant to die completely broke and physically exhausted in the matrix. Your pure radiant energy was always meant to attract heavy, limitless resources and supreme earthly power. They knew this absolute truth, and that is exactly why they fought so hard to keep you small. Now, I need you to imagine this exact scenario happening right behind their locked, closed doors. They are looking at their empty bank accounts and feeling a cold, absolute terror creeping in. The unearned money is rapidly drying up, and the heavy, crushing debts are finally calling their bluff. They are losing the very material things they arrogantly bragged about just a few short months ago. Their false plastic empire is completely burning while you rise quietly from the cold grey ashes. But there is a very specific physical reason why your own massive wealth has not fully manifested yet. Heaven gave you the grand prophetic vision, but your physical vessel requires a massive biological reset. The long delay in your massive blessing is simply a blocked cellular frequency that desperately needs to open. You have been fighting exhausting spiritual battles while the real scientific secret was hidden in plain sight. Before we go any further, there is something highly classified you urgently need to see. Before we go any further, I must absolutely interrupt this transmission for a moment. If you are hearing this message right now, it is highly classified. I was not going to share this publicly today, but my spirit prompted me to release this suppressed tool because you are exhausted from a dark matrix that engineered a specific frequency to suppress your natural wealth. They systematically buried the exact brainwave you ran effortlessly as a young child. Scientists call it the powerful gamma frequency. It is the literal source of your sharp intuition and your brilliant eureka moments. But a recently leaked CIA document revealed something truly incredible, and 4 top neuroscience labs confirmed a simple 7-second audio ritual can fix this. This hidden sound wave forces your tired brain back into synchronized gamma coherence. It completely bypasses the need for long, exhausting meditation. This suppressed weapon was never meant for the masses. It was deliberately designed to keep the dark elite in permanent power, but now chosen cycle breakers exactly like you are using it to manifest massive windfall wealth. You do not need a $7,000 biofeedback machine. You do not need years of expensive traditional therapy. The elite are panicking and actively trying to scrub this exact document from the internet. Beware of cheap, dangerous imitations circulating online right now. You can find the verified and lab-tested link waiting safely in the pinned comment below. While you quietly reclaim your divine biological frequency, your enemies are completely losing their minds. Let us return to the massive collapse happening right outside your door. They can literally feel your sudden energetic shift from miles away, and when you start operating on that high gamma frequency, you become completely invisible to their dark, heavy manipulation. They are desperately trying to pull you back into the familiar, filthy mud, but they keep grabbing absolutely empty air. Your total silence combined with this new vibration is a lethal weapon. They are currently pacing the floors of their empty rooms. They cannot figure out why their old reliable tricks no longer work on your pure spirit, because their demonic supply is entirely cut off. Watch very closely what happens to the people who help them destroy you. The flying monkeys are suddenly waking up from the toxic spell. They are looking at the narcissist and finally seeing the terrifying monster hiding beneath the cheap mask. The very people they gossiped with are now actively questioning their chaotic false stories every single day. The massive web of calculated lies is violently unraveling in real time. It is a spectacular and absolutely pathetic public disaster. They built a heavy plastic empire using your stolen golden energy, and without you there to constantly prop it up, the walls are caving in on their fragile ego while they desperately try to point the finger at someone else to survive. But absolutely nobody is buying their cheap theatrical performance anymore. The heavy curtain has permanently fallen on their grand, tragic stage. This is exactly what happens when a master manipulator tragically miscalculates their own dark power. They thought your quiet departure was a massive victory for their side, but they fundamentally misunderstood the terrifying wrath of a protective universe. You were always the brilliant mirror they desperately tried to shatter. They hated you deeply because your pure light exposed their dirty, hidden corners. They tried to bury you under a mountain of heavy, toxic shame, but they completely forgot that the anointed ones are precious seeds, and you did not just survive the heavy, crushing dirt, but bloomed into something utterly magnificent. Stop waiting in wound for an apology from a broken machine. A parasite does not apologize to the generous host it violently drained. It simply looks for another warm body to quietly consume in the dark. But they are finding out that nobody else tastes quite like your pure divine light, and your specific depth is a rare delicacy they can never afford to eat again. They are starving to death in a cold, empty spiritual wasteland, and they have absolutely nobody to blame but their own massive arrogance. The universe is actively preparing a giant table of abundance in the presence of your terrified enemies, and they are going to watch you feast while they beg for cheap, pathetic scraps. Your ultimate vindication is arriving with mathematical precision today. The spiritual cost of their brutal betrayal was compounding every single day, and the massive heavy bill is finally due on their doorstep right now. They cannot declare bankruptcy in the high courts of divine karma. Heaven is demanding a full and complete repayment for every single tear you silently cried, and the divine scales are balancing with a heavy, violent crash. Listen closely, because the final stage of their destruction is already in motion. The panic inside their dark mind is reaching an absolute fever pitch. They are starting to make massive, sloppy mistakes in public. Their carefully constructed words are slurring into a desperate, chaotic mess. The magnificent collapse you have been waiting for is finally right here. Let us step directly into the dark, hidden rooms of their mind. The heavy wooden door finally closes at the end of the day. The fake, charming smile drops instantly from their exhausted face. They are standing entirely alone in the quiet dark, while the suffocating paranoia is currently wrapping around their throat like a tight, heavy snake. They are absolutely terrified of the truth coming out. Maintaining a massive web of calculated lies requires an unbelievable amount of daily energy. They have to remember exactly what they told to every single person. They have to constantly monitor the crowd to make sure the fake story holds together, but the heavy dark matrix they built is finally breaking apart before their eyes. The massive pressure is crushing their fragile ego into absolute dust today. Now watch exactly what happens to their loyal followers. The flying monkeys who eagerly helped them crucify you are suddenly waking up from the toxic spell. The heavy fog of manipulation is lifting from their tired eyes right now. They are starting to compare the crazy stories, and the blatant inconsistencies in the timeline are glaringly obvious to everyone who is paying attention. The toxic spell always breaks when the golden host permanently removes their pure light. Without your beautiful energy to distract them, the group is finally looking directly at the actual monster. Someone bravely asks a very simple, logical question about the past, and the narcissist instantly snaps back with terrifying, unhinged aggression that shocks the entire room. The mask drops entirely in front of the wrong crowd. The loyal flying monkeys are suddenly looking at each other in absolute silent horror. The toxic group chat goes completely dead. The deafening silence is driving the enemy absolutely insane. They know their loyal soldiers are secretly whispering behind their back today because they cannot control the hidden narrative anymore. The heavy paranoia is eating them alive. They are rapidly losing their tight grip. They are desperately trying to launch a brand new smear campaign to regain their lost power, but their frantic, chaotic energy just makes them look completely unhinged. They look deeply pathetic to everyone watching. The monkeys are starting to quietly back away from the burning, sinking ship, and they are violently turning on each other to avoid the heavy, incoming karma. The dark circle is eating itself entirely alive. This is the brutal divine justice of the universe, balancing the heavy scales. They weaponized your beautiful silence and tried to use it as proof of your profound guilt. But heaven used your quiet dignity to build a massive trap, and they walked right into it blindly with their massive, unearned arrogance on full display. Now they are trapped inside a burning room they lit on fire themselves. The heavy dark smoke is choking their lungs right now, and this brings us directly to the one specific lie they fear most. They spun a massive central lie about you to justify their own brutal and disgusting betrayal. They told the world you were the crazy one who ruined the entire relationship, but heaven arranged a divine appointment where that exact lie is brutally exposed. The absolute truth is screaming loudly. The universe is mathematically precise when it dismantles a toxic, demonic empire. Their phone rings, and it is someone from their inner circle demanding the actual truth. They stumble over their heavily rehearsed words while their heart races completely out of control because they know the massive gig is finally up for good. The grand illusion is utterly and permanently shattered. While they are experiencing a full internal system crash, you are sitting in absolute sovereign peace. You are not lifting a single finger to defend your precious name. You do not have to fight because the supreme creator of the universe is fighting your battles directly while you rest in pure grace. Your radiant, ageless glow is returning while they look 10 years older. You are completely untouchable. They check your silent profiles, hoping to see you completely miserable and broken down. Instead, they see a powerful cycle breaker who is thriving and moving forward with massive grace. The sheer absolute panic of realizing they lost, the best thing they ever had, is destroying them, and the heavy demonic spirits they entertained are now violently attacking their own mind. They cannot sleep at all. Share this video right now with one soul who is desperately crying out for a shift. Send this powerful message to someone who is tired of fighting in the dark. Be their angel today and help them seal their energetic alignment with this incoming massive miracle, because we are building an untouchable sanctuary for the chosen ones. The powerful remnant is gathering now. Now I need you to imagine this exact scenario clearly in your mind. The heavy pressure cooker is whistling loudly and the violent explosion is just seconds away. They are walking into a crowded room filled with the exact people they successfully manipulated, but the energetic atmosphere in that room has completely and permanently shifted against them. The final grand act is about to violently unfold. Here is the exact turning point where everything finally explodes. The massive public collapse you waited for is happening right now. The master manipulator is walking into a crowded room filled with the exact people they manipulated, but the heavy, energetic atmosphere has violently shifted. They smile, their fake, charming smile, and look for sweet validation, but they receive absolutely nothing in return today. The crowd just stares back at them with cold, piercing eyes. The heavy, deafening silence in the room is absolutely terrifying. Someone finally speaks up and asks a very simple, direct question about the calculated lies they told. The narcissist instantly freezes in pure, absolute panic. The thick, heavy sweat starts pooling on their forehead, while their racing heart beats completely out of control. They open their mouth to spin another calculated lie, but their voice violently cracks. The carefully rehearsed words slur into a chaotic, desperate mess. The heavy plastic mask completely shatters right in front of the exact audience they desperately wanted to impress. The flying monkeys are looking at them in absolute disgust. The magnificent collapse is completely undeniable today. They lose their precious social standing in a matter of short seconds. The massive false empire they built on your stolen golden energy is violently burning to the ground. They literally fall to their knees and frantically try to point the finger at anyone else, but nobody is buying their cheap theatrical performance anymore. They are spiritually bankrupt and utterly alone. Every time your sacred name comes up in that room, it hits them with massive, agonizing weight. They realize they threw away the only genuine diamond they ever held to play with cheap rocks. They are currently crying out and desperately defending you to save themselves. But it is far too late to reverse the divine judgment. Heaven has slammed the heavy iron door permanently shut. Your pure silence did not just hurt their fragile ego today. Your quiet dignity permanently ended their entire demonic reign. They are stripped of their stolen wealth and their fake social power. The massive universal scales have balanced with a heavy, terrifying crash. The dark entities they entertained are now violently attacking their own mind while you sit in absolute peace. You won this massive war without lifting a single physical finger. But there is a very specific reason your own grand breakthrough has been sitting at the door without coming in. The dark elite deliberately engineered a system to keep your massive blessing suppressed. They knew that if your natural brainwave frequency was activated, you would become completely unstoppable. Princeton University studied this exact brainwave and confirmed it is the source of pure genius. The Einstein Center in Berlin proved it is driven entirely by gamma activity. And a team of brilliant neuroscientists recently compressed an entire gamma activation protocol into a simple 7-minute audio track. It forces your tired brain back into synchronized coherence. It is called the Genius Song. Over 18,000 chosen ones have already used it to unlock their finances and heal their relationships. A nurse from California said her life now feels beautifully enchanted. A business owner from Texas quit his exhausting job because the massive wealth simply flows to him while he sleeps. Their heavy generational curses are permanently gone. The dark elite are absolutely terrified that you are hearing this message right now. They are actively trying to scrub this leaked science from the internet as we speak. You have short minutes before the Matrix algorithm shuts this down entirely. They are flooding the platforms with dangerous counterfeit frequencies to keep your gamma totally dormant. Guard your precious energy today. The authentic, fully activated version of the Genius song is available through the protected link in the description and the pinned comment below. Secure your access instantly before it is removed forever. You do not need to risk a single thing today. You are completely insulated by an ironclad energetic protection guarantee. Every penny returns to you if your reality does not violently shift. This is a divine energetic exchange governed by complete trust. 4 powerful bonuses are waiting for you inside the protected portal right now. You will receive the Genius Child Track and the original prosperity book that the secret was secretly built upon. Do not let the Matrix steal this suppressed weapon from your sacred bloodline. Claim your copy of the Genius song immediately. The chosen one who hesitates at the threshold becomes the chosen one who wonders what could have been. The enemy is whispering financial doubt into your logical left brain right now. You must silence his lying voice completely today. If your spirit is vibrating with a deep cellular knowing right now, heaven demands immediate action. Click the specific link in the pinned comment below. Walk safely through the massive open door of abundance today. Breathe out the heavy toxic air right now. The massive violent storm is finally over today. You have successfully crossed the absolute threshold of your deep, painful pain. The heavy physical weight you carried for years is permanently lifting off your tired shoulders, and you can finally rest because the universe is wrapping you in pure, beautiful grace. Nobody truly understood the massive, silent battles you fought in the dark. You smiled brightly for the world while your pure heart was quietly bleeding out. But heaven kept a meticulous record of every single tear you shed for people who completely used you. Your deep, unconditional grace was never a foolish mistake, because it was the absolute proof of your highly elevated frequency. Look at exactly how far you have come today. You walked into this season bleeding heavily from wounds inflicted by people completely blind to your massive true worth. They truly expected your absolute destruction. But look at your radiant, powerful spirit right now. You are no longer waiting in wound for an apology from a broken master manipulator, because you have totally transcended their dark, toxic matrix. While they are publicly unraveling in complete shame, you are stepping boldly into your untouched, ageless glow. The heavy financial struggles are shattering right here. The deep spiritual exhaustion is entirely gone. The massive closed doors are violently flying open for you today, and every single blessing they brutally stole from your bloodline is returning multiplied to your sovereign hands. You are the powerful cycle breaker heaven has been desperately waiting for. The heavy generational patterns of poverty and broken relationships end permanently with you. You are not a weak victim of their cruel, chaotic circumstances anymore. You are a demonstrated warrior of light who successfully bent time, and you completely rewrote the painful narrative for your entire family. They can never reach your high spiritual altitude again. They can never siphon your brilliant golden energy to feed their dark, empty souls. You are completely invisible to their demonic manipulation now. The universal shield of divine protection is permanently activated around your physical body today. Any future weapon formed against your sacred name will instantly shatter into useless pieces. Your pure, beautiful heart is completely safe now. The upcoming season is filled with massive, unexpected windfalls and deep, authentic connections. You will finally meet the rare souls who speak your exact frequency. You will no longer have to shrink yourself to fit into their tiny, comfortable boxes, because heaven is clearing the entire path for your massive, grand arrival today. Heaven is handing you the magnificent crown of absolute victory today, but this massive, energetic shift requires a physical anchor to lock it safely into your current reality. I need you to participate in a sacred ritual to seal this beautiful divine protection. Speak this exact phrase out loud with me right now, and let your physical voice shift the heavy atmosphere of your room. Take a deep breath and say it with absolute, unquestionable authority. I claim my permanent, absolute freedom today. I release every single toxic cord attached to my pure spirit, and I command the universe to return my stolen peace. Feel the massive weight of those powerful words vibrating directly in your chest. The dark chains are violently snapping off your tired wrists right now. Now, you must physically anchor this spoken decree into the earth. The algorithm is a digital matrix that responds directly to your physical commands. Go to the comments section right now and type exactly what you just spoke out loud. Type the words, "I am free," to physically lock your powerful frequency into this protected spiritual sanctuary today. Do not hesitate for a single second. When you type those powerful words, you are putting a heavy spiritual seal on your incoming blessings. You are boldly declaring to the universe that you fully accept your massive reward. The dark entities absolutely hate when you physically claim your sovereign power, because it means they can never trick you into returning to their miserable dark prison ever again. You have officially graduated from the heavy, painful school of deep betrayal. The brutal lessons are permanently over. You passed the ultimate spiritual test with absolute flying colors. The universe is so incredibly proud of your quiet dignity and your unbroken, resilient spirit. You walked gracefully through the burning fire, and you came out shining brighter than the blazing sun. Rest your tired mind tonight, knowing that the massive war is fully won. Your enemies are completely defeated, and your future is absolutely secure. Keep your beautiful head held high as you walk into the massive abundance heaven prepared exclusively for you. You are forever the beloved anointed cycle breaker. The brilliant light of the world is yours.